Welcome to the Winning Balance podcast. We are met with one of my buddies, Sir Alex Mashburn. Thanks for coming, dude.
Sir. Oh,
yeah. You're now Sir. Congrats. I shouldn't be calling you Sir because you're only 27. So.
Aren't you 27?
I'm 29.
Yeah.
We're close.
You look younger than me, so that sucks.
I got the baby face, so maybe I should be calling you Sir. And you're richer than me, so I should definitely be calling you Sir.
Promise you I'm not.
Yes, you are. All right, let's dive into this. Alex is a stud. I'm going to dive into his bio, but before I do that, like one thing that I've admired about Alex is you have niched down to into a beautiful business model, and niched down in a world of real estate where you're building an actual business. That's something like Alex and our conversations that we've had back and forth that I've been trying to figure out a lot is like, how do I build a business that involves less of me? And so that's been kind of an endeavor I've been after. And I feel like you are headed in that direction in a wonderful way. So I'm excited to dive into it.
Thanks, man. Those are nice. Nice words.
Okay, the bio. Alex Mashburn is a 27-year-old entrepreneur focused on buying and operating wedding venues. From early missteps to finding his footing in real estate and event venues, his journey has been shaped more by failure than success. But he sees each setback as a stepping stone. Through it all, his greatest priority has always been his family. Alex believes in persistence, working hard, and building businesses that serve people with excellence and purpose. Thanks for jumping on, dude.
Thanks.
And like, you wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't think you were a family man. So like, that's another like compliment I'd give your way. Like that's something I've noticed from you. I think priorities is a massive, massive issue in today's day and age of whether you're chasing money or whatever it might be, is family kind of gets left in the back. So that's something I respect about you. And
even if you're just filling slots, I'm happy to be here.
Stop.
I'm the backup of the backup, everybody.
No, Alex, you're a freaking stud. But dude, let's dive into your story. I have heard a lot of your story, but I want to start from the very beginning of where you felt like your career really started, and where you got to, like how you got to where you are today.
Okay.
Let's just start at the very beginning. Like how'd you get involved in real estate?
Yeah.
Like, let's start there.
Yeah. I've gone back to it a couple of times, even last week on a different podcast, but the more I think about it, it goes back to this one experience with a friend in what were we, 8th or 9th grade. And I didn't grow up with like money at all. But it was my first time riding on a bus after school, going to a friend's house. And it's kind of far away, but like they have all these alfalfa fields behind them that they own, and they have like bees. And it's like my first time ever on like a four-wheeler and like a dirt bike. And we literally just like, we got there, and his parents had like a bunch of snacks in their house. Like, dude, we're not allowed to have those snacks. Those are great. You know, like we were just able to go and have so much fun around the property and just rip around. And then we had like a fire that night, and I was just kind of like, oh man, someday I want land. You know, I want my kids to like grow up like this, even if it's, you know, hard work taking care of it or whatever. I think that was my first like initial spark of like, oh, like people do live like this. Like, this is sweet.
This was in Utah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was more like the lifestyle that pulled you in of like, okay, if this is what's possible if X, right? Were they in real estate?
Yeah, no. I mean, they just, it was like his grandpa's, I think before they owned it. Uh-huh. Just like some family had bought it a long time ago, and they just kind of owned it and maintained it. And I actually like hauled hay with them one time. Really? My first time ever hauling hay. I was probably 16 or something, 15. I don't know. Later on. And I don't know why, but I just literally didn't drink caffeine growing up. It's kind of like a side note story, but they didn't have any water after, and I was like dying. And they had like just little cans of Dr. Pepper. And so like I was like, whatever.
That was your first swig.
Dude, I was wired for like 2 days. I was like, I don't know. They all laughed at me, but it's funny.
I love it.
So
I mean, where did that connect come from of like, maybe this is the lifestyle that you want, and how did you pair that with real estate? Like, how did you decide that real estate was going to be your avenue?
I mean, I didn't really know that was going to be the avenue. I just, I got back from my church mission, and I knew I could work hard from sports and my mission, you know, like just being really disciplined. And I was like, I'm never going to be that summer sales guy, you know, but I want to be successful. So I was running track at Southern Utah University, and I was going into accounting. So that's the reason I chose to go into accounting, was some of those experiences growing up of like, maybe if I learn about money, maybe I'll have more, you know? And so quickly learned that an employee job for me, like we had Goldman Sachs come in and Deloitte, and it's just funny, like listening to them, like everyone's hyped about making 50 grand, working 80 hours a week and working your way up the ladder. And I was just like, no, yeah. So I was doing some summers, like selling alarms and then solar. And I was never the guy that was like crushing it. I just wasn't. We had bought our first property after our first year married and doing sales. Mm-hmm. Just traditional townhome. It was like cheaper to buy than rent, which is not true today. Yeah. That was the only property we ever got lucky with, like super lucky. But yeah, a year later after we bought that, it was worth like 340 grand, and we got it for 190.
Jeez.
And so we were like, oh, this is how real estate works, right? No. But for that one, it did. And so I just figured like, if I was just spending a lot of my time in the summers when I should have been probably working more. But I was spending a lot of time trying to learn the ins and outs of real estate. And I'm no, you know, pro, but like I have learned a lot about it, and I've failed a lot with different assets and partnerships and stuff. But just to be able to see how real estate can really, you know, hold wealth really good, and create it a little bit is really cool to see.
Yeah. So that was your first like aha of real estate. Yeah. Is you bought your townhome, market got pumped, and life was good, right? Like
yeah.
That's kind of similar to me. I was a COVID baby in all like intents and purposes for real estate, and everyone was making money. It was seen as easy. Yeah. And then 2022 rolls around, and L's just get started handed. That was for me at least. But I like that you talk about your L's and how much of a big part that is in your story, because I'm the same way. Like I've had some crazy L's too.
Yeah, you have too. Yeah. I think it's like 3-point shooting in NBA. Yeah. It's like their perspective is, oh my gosh, Steph Curry has a 38 or 40% 3-point make. They don't say, oh my gosh, like 60, 70% of the time he doesn't even make it. Yeah. Right? Exactly. It's just like, so I do think that most people, whether they admit it or not, have more L's than they do W's. But like, I'm not putting those on the negative side of things, you know, just lining it back up better the next time. Yeah. You know,
even on like the smallest scale of L's, right? Yeah. I think that's a good lesson for sure. So what, like, talk to me about that transition from sales to like, I want to be in real estate full time, and like, if you don't mind, like dive into the details of this, because this is something that I had to do, of that jump from the security of a job to full-time real estate. Like it took me two goes, right? And it was scary both times, but especially the second time after failing miserably. Yeah. It's scary making that jump. So talk to me through that.
Yeah. So this is hard for me because, you know, like looking back, you're just like, I was just so dumb, you know, at different times. Yeah. But I really, really did think that like my first house, that townhome, that was an Airbnb making $3,500 to $5,000 every month, was just going to do that forever, you know? And so I made that jump with some not great assumptions. But I did assume, one thing that I'll give myself credit for, I did assume that I was going to be taking a loss. I was going to be going from making, 80 to 130 grand to making 40 or 50. But I just liked it I just loved it so much. And so, yeah, so after that deal, getting two more with a friend, in the same area, doing kind of the similar thing, because I knew it would work, and it did for a while. But so I'll give you some numbers. So like we would go use Mountain America Credit Union,
the 10% down,
10% down, and no mortgage insurance, and we would go get a student house or an Airbnb in a college town, and my wife and I and our one kid would go like live in it and go renovate it for a couple months and then go on to another one. And we didn't do that a crazy amount of times, but like I could see how much of a toll it was taking. And then once we left, things worked great, for 6 months. And then I was like, cool, I'm going to hire a manager. So it's passive income now, And then we would, but if it's not you taking care of your stuff, or you put the wrong person in place or anything, it's not going to be passive income anymore. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, one time someone left the water on and it flooded everywhere, or one time some student did this and or they didn't like the property manager, so they wouldn't leave. Like they wouldn't answer anything. And just stuff starts to add up and not be passive anymore. But I was really, for those first 3 or 4 deals, I was super rooted in like passive income and pretty cocky, pretty arrogant. Yeah.
Remind me your wife's name.
Brooke.
I was going to guess Brooke, but I was like, how embarrassing would that be?
You would have got it
wrong. But talk to me, because you talked about that jump of like, you're glad that you had some assumptions that you're going to make less, right? Like worst case scenario, and make half, just grow into this industry that I love.
Yeah.
But talk to me, like, that's not always an easy conversation either for a spouse, right? Like, how did that conversation go of making less and probably more risk?
It went actually really good, because I was a sales guy and I wouldn't recommend selling your wife. Usually she's more right than you. But long story short, I was out working hard and sales, and those hours are, did you do sales at all?
No,
ever?
Never.
Those hours are, for a single person, everyone should go do sales.
Yeah.
Every single person should go learn that discipline, learn those industries, make money, be rejected a lot. But when you're married and you have a kid, it's super interesting to see like how things can add up quick, like not only money wise, but also your time. You're like, oh, like, is it worth it bringing my family to a different state, living in a little apartment, not seeing them all day, just, you figure it out. Your first time dad. Like, it was pretty easy to be like, hey, we're just going to go do full-time real estate and we're going to be in it more together,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're going to make less money, but like, she knew that.
Yeah.
She knew that too.
But less sacrifice in terms of she's not in a hotel room by herself with a baby. She has more of a support system. And
yeah. And that's where it kind of goes into like, I realized how much, like, I had just been helping friends get properties, and I wasn't an agent or anything like that. And I looked back in the last year and I was like, oh, I missed out on like $200,000 this year.
Yeah.
If I just do like 3% of all the properties I help people get, because I'm not an agent, I was literally just helping people.
Yeah.
And because I was helping people, it came back to me. I feel like giving, I don't know how the law of giving works.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I just feel like I don't understand, but it definitely came back. And so, yeah, I got my license. And while I was still buying my own deals or helping other people, I was able to make a lot more than when I was doing summer sales.
In your first year.
Yeah.
So, and that's a great like example.
Not the first 6 months for sure. But like a year later, I was making a lot more every month,
which is amazing.
But not from passive income, from active income.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a good example for people to lean on, is like these risks can pay off.
Yeah.
And like, especially when I look back on my journey of trying to get into full-time real estate and how scary that is, I kept telling myself, because I was in tech sales, that was kind of my my out of college
Washington
job. Yeah. And, well, actually, when I went to UVU, graduated UVU.
Okay.
And like my final years of UVU was doing tech sales. So jumped into it early, but that whole time I was still obsessed with real estate, still finding deals for people.
Yeah.
Wholesaling. But like when I look back at that, my first attempt of going real estate where I failed miserably left like a dent in me of what that second go around, because I had this burning passion, but I was like, am I not fit for it?
Yeah.
I already failed once.
Yeah.
And that second go around, it's wild to look back on that and say, like, how did my wife let me do that? Like, I already failed. I already was like 40 grand in credit card debt. And she's like, I believe in you. And I think it goes to this point of there are certain people that are just like go-getters, and your wife will trust you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's been a point ever, even though I failed miserably at full-time sales or at full-time real estate the first go around, the conversion of I could go back to tech sales and make a very healthy income at the snap of a finger was always there.
Yeah.
And so I think that she's like had some trust because of the work that I've put in.
Yeah.
And so
when you go fail the most in your 20s, especially like your early 20s,
yeah,
I feel like you find out your bottom line. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
Like, go fail the most that you absolutely can. And during those times, like, find a wife.
Yeah.
Because they're going to see it all the way from the bottom. And if they still, love you from when you're at the bottom, then it's just going to get better.
Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, if like worst case scenario, I'm like, babe, if we just lost everything and we just had to go like, I don't know, like go live in a little 500 square foot, like 1-bedroom apartment with our 2 kids and us, like, would you still love me?
Yeah.
And it's always like 1000% yes. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the bigger picture perspective on this life of like, learning to make right choices, having kids, and just learning and, making promises with God, which is our top 3 priorities.
Yeah.
You can do all those things in a small house,
Yeah.
or a little apartment. So
I love that.
but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But you could go back to tech sales and still make probably 6 figures or low fives.
Yeah.
So,
no, and that's the thing too, is I think our perception of reality kind of shifts as we grow in this industry of, if we zoom out completely, just here in America, like worst case scenario, I lose everything. I still have a roof over my head.
yeah.
I'm still going to have food. Like, I think the worst case scenario is much better than a lot of people's scenarios, right? So
Dude, yeah, I was just golfing with a friend the other day, and he served a church mission in Guatemala. And he's just like, dude, those people are happier than most people here. he's just like, I really want to be successful to make a difference. But like, the more I think about it, your life probably doesn't change much. Like whether you have 5 million or 20 million, like, 20 million
100%.
versus 100 million. Like maybe you can do a couple more things or buy a couple bigger things. But in the end, like your happiness doesn't matter if you have nothing or if you have every worldly thing,
Yeah. It's an interesting concept. They broke down, there was like some data compiled of, and this was, I think, like 5-10 years ago. So with inflation, it might be higher, but they did a bunch of studies, and 75 grand was the mark of like financial,
like happiness, right?
Financial happiness,
I saw
right?
That. Yeah.
And so you think about that. And I mean, even if you're under that, I'm sure if you live below your means, you can make way in that same happiness. But that perspective as an entrepreneur, it's never enough.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this, Alex, of just like because people like us, we like building, we like feeling like we're growing, and
you like to feel appreciated.
Yeah.
You like to feel like valued. But I think I've just realized, like, if it's coming from, I'd rather feel valued by the 5 people I respect the most and want to be like, and be not valued by millions of people, than be valued by millions of people that don't align with what I'm doing. And then they're trying to talk to you all the time too. And you're just kind of like, I forget the word, but
like beating a dead horse.
It's also, don't you think don't you think entrepreneurship is a lonely place?
Yeah.
It's, I don't think it's actually that lonely at the beginning, because it's like, we're all doing maybe some sales together, or we're all, gonna go start our little thing, or I'm gonna start a podcast, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not super lonely at the beginning, and you have a lot of like hype. I feel like it's like a marathon. You get a lot of cheers at the beginning, and then maybe at the end there's a lot of cheers too if you have an exit, or you have,
that's so temporary. That's what I think. To your same point, it's like you talk about the masses of people versus like the people that actually care. We think those people care, but in reality, they don't care at all.
No.
They might send you an Instagram message and congratulate you, but like that's the end of it.
Did you see Alex Hormozy's, like, he was writing a book and he was posting, I mean, the dude posts a lot.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like 100 to 300 times a week or something like that. But he was writing a book, and it was someone in his neighborhood that he sees once in a while, and they talk, but he was going on a run one day, and he runs into them, and they're just like, "Oh, how's it going, Alex?" And he was just like, "Good. Are you coming to my book signing?" "Oh, you're writing a book?" He'd been posting about this for like a year or two or whatever, while he's writing a book. So many, and like, even to someone in his neighborhood, like, they just don't care. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to think that, like, people care, and sometimes you wish more people would, but it's definitely a lonely place compared to, like, if you go work in a job where you're just around 20 of your coworkers every day, and you're joking and you're golfing and you're hanging out or whatever. Same with, like, I feel like it's the same pattern as like college or high school. You're playing, you're joking, you're doing a little homework, like you're same as high school, same as junior high, same as, like, all your whole growing up and into like these W-2 jobs. I feel like it's not there. I'm sure there's different lonely little phases, but entrepreneurship, I mean, I just feel like no one is going through exactly what really you're going through.
Yeah. And no one's there to save you either. No. Like that's the crazy thing is you fall flat on your face. You don't have a sales manager to pick you up and give you a speech. You got to dust yourself off and show up at home too. Like, especially if you have a family, it's like, you got to show up, you got to be a good dad, you got to be a good husband.
Yeah. I think it was on the Case Studies podcast, but it was like, if you want to be a rocket scientist, there's a path.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, but if you're fit for it, you can do it, and you kind of know the different steps to do. If you want to be, a surgeon, like he went through that example. But if I'm going to build a, 9-figure event venue management company, like there's not really a guidebook for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not like,
sure.
okay, let's just check out this textbook. Let's learn from this person.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm hoping to find those couple people that can really, help me get there. And I know we're going to get there someday, but it always takes longer than you think.
For
and
sure.
there's not like, hold your hand and here's how you do it.
Yeah. So that's a good transition there too, Alex, is we've talked about your transition out of sales into real estate in general. You're helping people find deals. You're in the agent space. You're still buying your own deals. Give me the rundown of how you went from that into wedding venues and diving all into that.
Yeah. So I'm not so much of a sub 2 guy. Like when I was buying just a lot of real estate stuff.
What's sub 2? Give a 10-second breakdown for the audience.
Yeah. Sub 2 is like subject to the existing loan or lien, so you're taking over mortgages or, you're just buying an asset subject to the existing already loan on the property. I would just go buy stuff that was owned free and clear and get the rich person to sell it to me, seller finance with a down payment.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys are a little bit more flexible in my opinion.
Well, that's exactly my niche now. Like 90% true seller finance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like rarely touch sub 2.
Yeah. But I just found there's a lot more of those than you think. I mean,
sure.
40% of Utah owns their house outright.
Yeah. Which is wild.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
and obviously not all of them are going to seller finance. Very few actually, but, I was just kind of buying whatever, seller finance, vacation homes that we could Airbnb on a golf course, mobile home park, and we got a wedding venue. And it's like, oh, we can figure this out. And we took over like $60,000 worth of weddings and we were getting paid for them. I'm like, this is amazing. But when you really dive into it, it's like, have you ever read The Richest Man in Babylon?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. Everyone puts real estate in one class of assets, and it's not. It's like 100,
Yeah.
It's like, that's like saying that like brick, stone, marble, diamonds, like it's all just the same thing. It's just like rocks, concrete, whatever, asphalt. It's just all rocks. And you might be right in one aspect of it, but like they're all so different. They're made different. They look different. You mine them different, whatever. And just if you go read The Richest Man in Babylon, it's pretty much saying don't have the bricklayer or the brickman go and get diamonds, and this, because he'll, like, most of the time he'll lose your money because he doesn't understand everything about diamonds. He'll go buy the fake diamonds that he thinks are real, right? And it was just kind of a realization, like, I just need to focus on one thing. And I was feeling pretty spread thin, where my expectations were, I'm just getting all this passive income, to all these problems are happening. And okay, I know when I navigate these problems, this is where the real money is made, and it's true. But also, around that same time, like, I met with billionaire Todd Peterson, and he was like, you just need to make a management company for wedding venues, because we were looking at buying another one. And I was like, it's the last thing on my mind is a management company. Like, I want real estate, I want passive income. And then I had a quick flashback on all of the different, things I've seen and been a part of. And it's just like, oh, like, all of the people I respect the most and the people that are the happiest and the most well off just do one thing, like, and I was trying to figure out, well, why is this the first time I'm realizing this? And I don't know. I'm sure people had told me before, but it's just like, and I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like you broke that down in a good way. Like, to me, when I make a lot of content, right, and you know how it goes, people are always hitting you up like, hey, can I pick your brain? Or the sentence of, hey, I want to get into real estate. To me, it says like, I want to get into sports.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like,
that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to play volleyball?
But you were there once though.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
And it's not that I said that in kind of a brash way, because it's not their fault, right? But to me, it's always like, go become psycho obsessed with the education phase. Go read books, like as many books as you can get yourself on real estate, listen to podcasts, find a lane. There's a million ways to make $1 million in real estate. Find what makes sense most for you right now. It's probably going to change. In the beginning of your career, like, I never would have thought I'd be where I am. I didn't even know what it was when I got started, the seller finance world, right? But I think that's amazing that you found where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel pretty called to it, to be honest. I've always loved like events and just any get-togethers, you know, but ultimately, like, one of the main things that helped me make the decision was you're dealing with the people on the happiest day of their life or their year. You know, like if you're hosting a massive family reunion, or you're doing, I don't know, like a wedding or a March Madness party or whatever, like you're dealing with people in their happy days, right? With like a mobile home park or a non-luxury Airbnb or a student house, you're dealing with people on a budget. You know what I mean? And they are logically trying to spend the least amount possible. Where like Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank dude, he said that weddings and funerals are just like favorite businesses because they're the two most emotional times in your life. And that's not saying like, okay, get in this industry and like try to take advantage of people. It's saying that like, I want to deal with people that are spending their hard-earned money on stuff that they value. And I feel like that energy comes back into like, I'm a big energy guy now, I feel like, but I feel like it comes, sauna, cold plunge, Utah, it's just how it goes. But I feel like it comes back into me and in my home, and you're just dealing with that. Sure. You give away a wedding, you just saved a couple $4,000. We do that every year, and they're just like crying and stuff because it's a big deal. And anyway, so that's one part of it. The second part of it is that billionaire Todd Peterson told me that Marriott they're a management company, and I was like, "Are you talking about like the hotel guys?" Yeah. It's just like, yeah, like they 10x their business when they decided to go from a, real estate and you got all this liabilities and all these buildings to a management company and a brand. They just became a brand. You throw their name up there, they get paid a bunch of money because they're recognized. They do have incredible service with their, doesn't matter what it is, making sure the towels are in the right place, like just all the management of it, without a crazy amount of liabilities, just like a lot of employees in a brand name, Yeah. And when I dove into that more in the wedding venue industry, there's just not a lot of that because it's a frick ton of work. Yeah. Yes. But it's also like all these are a lot more individually owned instead of big companies like that buy hotels. So, and these people that own wedding venues are usually more well off. Yeah. And we found that like 80% of the time it was like the wife's passion project that they wanted to build a venue, or the land's been in the family forever. And so we're just dealing with people that really want their stuff taken care of. They have capital. So even if they want to sell it, we've bought them seller finance, a lot of these venues. And they're just nice, and they just like, they like, someone coming in to take care of their stuff and do it right. So
to play devil's advocate there, you talk about the emotional aspect of like, it's a big
Are you going to ask about recession?
No, I'm not.
I want to go into that though.
Okay, let's dive into it. But my thoughts are, if this is one of the most emotional days, there's going to be a lot of headaches that come with that too, right? Like,
not if you're prepared.
Okay, and that's what I want you to speak on is like, to me, that's probably a good point, because if things go wrong on your biggest day of the year, I'm sure tempers are going to flare, right? Like, talk to me. Do you deal with that much? Is that just a wrong assumption of someone who's like...
I don't personally. Maybe, I haven't heard a ton of stories from my managers of stuff like that, but it all starts with the end in mind, right? It's, I'll give a shout out to the 1% Club and Cam Bodden and Tommy Mello. We went to Tommy Mello. They own, I think it's called A1 Garage Doors. We went to their whole workshop and how they have it all set up. He talked about how, and they're going to sell for over $1 billion at the end of this year.
Jeez.
For a garage door company.
Yeah, it's insane.
Garage door and service, right? And what they do is incredible. They pretty much, every house call that they go to, they create such a good relationship with that customer that they end up charging way more than other garage door companies do, right? If they go and like they have a technician on the way to go fix a garage door, right? That technician is calling ahead of time to the customer saying, hey, I'm on my way. I'm going to be here at exactly this time. I just stopped, get some gas at 7-Eleven. What can I get your kids with it? Are you okay if I get them some donuts?
That's great.
Are you, whatever, right? And all of a sudden you're beating the expectation. You set, this is a hard day for them. It's an emotional day for them. Their garage door isn't working. It's super hot outside, whatever. Can't get their car out. You're saying, I'm on my way. Hey, can I bring you something? Can I bring the kids some slushies or whatever? Yeah. Then you go, and then all of a sudden they got like, I can't remember, it was like 15,000 reviews on Google, all like 5-star, like all of them. And their margins, instead of like being a 10 or 15% EBITDA, they're like 30 or 35%.
That's insane.
Because it's like, these guys take care of you, right? So that's how it is. Like, yes, you could possibly have that stuff come up, and you will, but like, we haven't had a ton, because if you're putting the right people in place, with the end in mind, and we have seen more negative stuff on the ones that we haven't put the right people in place, right? But if you're setting an expectation here, and then you're coming out here, then, a lot of the time you're just making them happier than they thought they were going to be.
Yeah. So, and I want to touch on that. I think I love that you brought that up, because for me, just in my own life, is you might think, oh, they're charging more money. Well, they're taking more advantage, blah, blah, blah. I think it's actually the opposite. Like, I'll do like a dumb example of like getting my oil changed and having to deal with like a Jiffy Lube or a big name there, or a Volvo where I can drive right through, don't leave my car, get my oil changed, leave. I know I am paying more for that service, but it's so worth it to me, because it's convenience, the whole experience. Like, I don't stress about it enough. It's like the mind space of like making an appointment with Jiffy Lube, and how long do I have to drop my car off? All of that. I drive through Volvo. They should pay me for this. I think that's what it's called, Volvo, but
shout out.
But it's like, it's an experience thing, and I'm happy to pay for it. So I think it's smart what you brought up.
Well, it's very, honestly, it's very volatile. Like, there's a venue that we're bringing over one of the managers from in Colorado, that venue does like $4 to $5 million a year in gross revenue. And usually venues are like 40 to 50% profit margins. Like, it's pretty good once you have it dialed, but it's hard to get it there. They're doing $4 to $5 million a year, and there's no lodging, no accommodations like that. It's literally a really nice venue that can hold 300 people. But they changed the perspective on the venue that it's like luxury. online and this and that. That's just what it is, right? So we have, and it's kind of middle of nowhere. It's not like in Denver or anything like that. Okay. Probably an hour and a half outside. Then we have one of our venues. We can hold 300 people inside. It's 3 hours from Vegas. You know, we get a lot of people from Vegas, 2 hours. And we're pretty high price for the area. We're really high price for the area. But the perspective isn't there yet. So we do like $400K a year gross. They're 10Xing us. 10X. Same space, middle of nowhere. They're 10Xing us, right? And when we bought it, it was doing $170,000 a year.
Jeez.
And now we got it to 400, right? So we have 10 times more things to learn, obviously, right? And we have other ones to get that are 3Xing what they were doing when we first bought them. But it's very volatile, where it's like, okay, if we can just put the right people in place and figure out what all the main differences in, maybe we can't get to 4 or 5 million, but maybe you can.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not only changing the perspective to like, this is luxury, this is here, but you're only going to stay there if you keep going over their expectations.
I love that.
So,
what does your portfolio look like these days?
4 venues, 4 wedding venues, all bought in the last 2 years. 3 of them bought in the last 11 months.
Good for you.
Sold off a few properties, about to sell off the mobile home park.
Good for you. What's the total revenue on your wedding venues?
Like gross annual?
Yeah.
All of them combined? I haven't thought about that.
You can do a rough guess too.
Probably 2.5.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah. Well,
like this early on, and you've built a business. Who cares what? Just to see 2.5 million in revenue.
Yeah.
In 2 years is wild.
Yeah. And I think like we're getting a really good system in place. Like I don't think we'll have any problems getting, 20 venues and then over the next 3 years. I mean, it's going to be a lot of work, but like, and a lot of them we won't own.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be
that's
good.
Sweet. So. I love it. Well, talk to me too. Like we've talked about L's a lot, but I want to really hone in on like the family aspect of that.
Yeah.
Like how do you show up with your family when you're going through a loss and you don't know when you're going to come out of it? Like how do you show up?
I need to get better.
Always learning, right?
I'd like to say that like, yeah, I just put it all to the side when I get home and I'm good, but I probably talk to my wife about more things than I should that she doesn't need to be burdened with. And I do, and I need to, just be having that on me and flip the switch when I get home, but there's a lot less, there's a lot more peace of mind now than I had, 6 months or a year and a half ago. And I really do think it just comes from like just one thing. Earlier in this conversation, I talked about, the richest man in Papillon, and you talked about people want to get into real estate or sports. It's just very generic. And I realized that like in high school, I did club volleyball, ultimate frisbee, like we went to state.
Yeah, let's go.
Football.
Your high school had a team?
Club. I went and played with my cousin.
Cool.
Club. Football. I played football. I ran track. I ran cross country. I ran indoor track. I played basketball for 9th and 10th grade. And I was never home. Okay. But like I did a lot and I still did really good in school, but I just love doing all that stuff. And so I'm realizing now, literally on this podcast, I haven't realized this before. I think I wanted to like, cool, like, yeah, like I'll go get a vacation house over here and a mobile home park and wedding venues and student housing and Airbnbs. And yeah, maybe I'll just get some. I bought a triple net lease. I bought a warehouse last year, a year and a half ago, with Jaden. I bought the triple net lease building in Ogden. Like, I just kind of thought like, it's like sports. It's like, oh, just try a little bit of everything. And it's true, but like high school is for trying everything, you know? And maybe it's okay to try different things when you're in our situation. But ultimately, like the most successful people I've seen is just like Todd Peterson's told me he's 99% Vivint when he owned that company. And it was like 0.5% or like 1% of the year he would spend like taking time and spending a bunch of money and buying a bunch of real estate. And that's it. And just have the right connections to bring you the right deals, and and be okay losing on a lot of them, but then you know who not to work with anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but being so focused and making so much freaking money in those 99.5% of the year that it didn't matter if you lost X amount of money but you figured out within probably a year or two who you're working with, you know, to bring you those, you know, to allocate those deals and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love what you said too. I was talking about this the other day of like, you have to take action to learn these things. Like you talk about that example with Todd as a prime example. By taking action, you're learning like who to work with and who not to, right? But if you don't take action, like that's an ever changing, like you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be like 10 for 10, right? Or 100 for 100. But
no, I mean, I've gotten into situations with like different partners, other people that like, I thought it was here, you know, and it just wasn't that.
Yeah.
Like it just was the wrong thing and the wrong fit. And sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And so, you know.
But you take what you learn and then you're going to be better for it, right? Which I think that's the journey of life, right? That we talk about is just constantly moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
You hinted at volatility or the recession. I'd love to hear your perspective on that in your industry.
Hopefully this doesn't come, maybe this comes back and bite me in the butt in a couple of years. I don't know. But with like the wedding venue industry, like over the last 100 years, 150, like it's just not super volatile because you have a little daughter, right?
Mm-hmm. 8.5 months.
Yeah. What's her name again? Gigi.
Yeah. Tanner,
you're paying for her wedding someday.
Yes, sir.
If you're broke as can be, you're going to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of one reason why it's like, it doesn't matter if there's a recession going on or not. These people have been saving a long time for their daughter's wedding or whatever. And so, that I would just say that's more something I'm grateful for, where it's a lot of like emotional investments. That's why I feel like wedding venues are not really an emotional investment to go buy one, right? Yeah, maybe to run one is, because it's way more work than you're going to think it actually is. Yeah. But it is like a pretty stable asset. And I was thinking about this. Tell me what you think about this. Student housing. It's like, it's super recession resistant probably. Like you're fine. The government's funding these schools. And it's just like, well, what if one day people didn't like how the school system was doing it and people just stopped going to college?
Which I feel like that's a valid option.
Yeah. Or what if it's all switched up? And there's no more scholarships. Yeah. But they're all these schools become a little bit more private, right? And it's just like I know the country, like one of the goals is education. It's super important. But education doesn't mean school, but I feel like it does a lot right now.
Yeah.
But maybe that changes. So when people say like, that's not, that's recession resistant, or like, dude, Airbnbs, we saw how crazy, like it was booked for a year or two, and then it's like down 60%, you know, in different areas. And so I don't know, or the whole Dallas Fort Worth area shut down short-term rentals. Pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, Utah is passing heavy regulations too. I think we talked about this before we started recording. I've always been the boring, steady Eddie guy. like slowed my growth 100%. And
For sure.
like, I am fully understanding of that. But at the same time, I feel like it's gotten me out of a lot of fads that have already come and gone. Like, I feel like Airbnb is a prime example of, and I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm not saying that. To me, this is also like a negative, right? Like, I'm always thinking 15 years ahead.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to understand that my asset is evergreen. And so I'm just like that boring long-term rental guy. But
I feel like it's not linear for you.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I'm boring and steady. It really is exponential. It's just, you might stay a little bit lower for a while than you think. Where like, I know some people that it's like this. It's like a freaking rocket ship, you know, but it's not real.
Yeah.
You know, like even in real estate, like there's a lot of fraud and there's a lot of things that you think you might be doing right, raising money, raising capital, like whatever, that there's actually just one thing you're doing wrong or a million things you're doing wrong. And like, it's just the pendulum always swings, you know, it always comes different ways. When you're doing amazing, expect it comes swinging the other way. When it's not going good, just know that it's going to come swinging in the right direction too. But I feel like you're so good that it's just like, it's just exponential compared to like, you know, some people, you know, going up and it'll come down.
I get it. And I'm not protected either. Just because I'm in a more boring, like I still lost 180 grand on
You're still taking more risks than like 90% of people. So
yeah, exactly.
You're saying you're boring compared to other people, you know.
Exactly.
Just your perspective.
I think that's the chase always, right? Yeah. It's like the more success you have, the bigger rooms you are, the bigger rooms you're in, the less I shouldn't say the less you think about yourself, but the less like, oh, I can go do that. Like, I feel like I'm fully capable to do what X is doing.
Yeah.
Do I want to do that? That's been the constant thing of like, do I want to scale? And I think I want to build, I want to scale, but what am I willing to risk? Like I love my life so much right now. I feel like I'm so spoiled. I golf as much as I want. I travel. Yeah. I spend time with my family. Like, I feel like I am so spoiled that getting to the next part, I have to figure out a way to do that without sacrificing what I have now. And I don't know if I figured that out yet.
No, me either. Me either. And have you ever seen that list of like all 50 states and it shows like which one has had like the most like convicted like fraudulent.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Did you? And Utah's like literally freaking number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I seriously, Utah is so amazing and so not amazing in different ways. And one of the ways it's amazing is like, you could probably go talk to 100 people today and you're going to find one that's a multi-millionaire. Yeah. And it's super successful. Everyone's super, like, it's super connected. It truly is like a beehive, you know, it's just like, it's buzzing, you know, and it's going, especially Utah County. But when my wife and my 2 kids just went to Indiana for 2 weeks, a couple weeks ago, like, I've like, it was so peaceful, dude. It was so peaceful. And like, I'm talking to some of the farmers that would like give you the shirt off their back. And it's just like, they just kind of like are acting, they kind of act poor, but they're like talking to me like they're not poor. Like, they're super nice and they're super like knowledgeable too, you know? Yeah. And I asked one of them, I was like, what would, like, if you just sold everything today, all your land, all your equipment, like, what would you get? And it was like, his dad would get about 300 million and he would get about 30. Like, it's just all illiquid, right?
Yeah.
But it was so peaceful there, and like, they're working hard. They're spending 20 grand on a pig so their kid can learn how to work. And then they sell that pig to get butchered after they do it, like in the fairs and the show, and they sell it and they get back $250.
But that kind of lifestyle, like, what will money buy them? Like they probably love their life.
They love it, dude. They have so much peace.
Yeah.
We're hanging out, catching fireflies, whatever. And like, they're not just like looking at their phone, you know? Immediately we fly over these beautiful mountains. We're coming into Salt Lake to land. And it's just like, I think my heart's just beating a little bit more. Yeah. And I'm like, I got to go build like a $1 billion business. And like, I got to like answer all this, and I got to like, you know, I don't know. And I'm like, how can I bring a little bit of Indiana, you know, how can I bring a little bit of that here, you know, or how can you bring a little bit of this there? Like how, just the word balance, I guess, but even though that's kind of a fake word, I feel like sometimes, how can you really go home at night and act like Indiana? But how can you, you know, during the day still do the right things, be right by people, and be really successful and be really giving and all that kind of stuff? Because I know plenty of people here in Utah that act like they're multimillionaires and they're really negative. Yeah. And money-wise and personality-wise. Yeah. And then I know a lot of people over there who act, you know, and
for sure.
Anyway.
Well, I think the keeping up with the Joneses is definitely, I'm from Seattle.
Is it bad here?
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. People, it's funny. I'm the same way. I love so much about Utah. I think Utah is a wonderful place. Like, the business culture is phenomenal. Like, it's gorgeous. The mountains are always just staring at you. I could go on and on, really. I love living here, but the keeping up with the Jones world, like, I feel like I've never been into cars, but I
got to get a Raptor.
Dude.
I got to get a Tesla. So I did. And then you got
100%.
Yeah.
I have and it's not even the Tesla and my F-150. That's not enough anymore. Like, dude. I literally found myself talking to my wife, and it's like, I could go buy
Porsche,
an R8 right now, cash, like if I wanted to. Yeah. Why is that thought in my head? I don't actually want that. No. I want what that I feel like that will give me in terms of. Yeah, you probably wouldn't fit in one, but it's like that kind of world where in Seattle, you drive around your neighborhood, average home price there is like $1 million in our neighborhood that we lived in, just because it's stupid expensive. People dress however they want. They look
like normal,
like 100% normal. There's no status. Like there's no, like, it's just a complete different world in Utah. Whereas you drive around your neighborhood here, and the average price in that neighborhood might be $500,000, but there's a Porsche out front. There's a range. Like, it's the status of, and I feel myself being sucked into it, and I have to like push so far away. And I talked to my wife about it. I was like, I feel like I'm so aware of what's happening, but I'm still being sucked in.
Yeah.
It's like the weirdest.
I know. It is weird. It is weird.
I freaking hate it. I don't want.
And then you listen to like Casey Baugh on case studies, and they're all talking about delayed gratification.
Exactly.
And it's just like, okay, I'm going to try harder.
Exactly. Well, I think there's a balance too, because I'm always on like, I think I'm more on the frugal side of, like, I don't really spend my money a ton. I live below my means, I would say. Yeah. I live a great life, but I still live far below my means, in my opinion. But talking to Casey, he said the two things that I would stretch for, like financially, are country club membership and a home in an affluent area where you're surrounded around people.
We've talked about that. Dude.
The next week, I joined Riverside. I dropped off my check, which was like so uncomfortable to me.
But it wasn't real estate, and you're just dropping 70 G's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's like, I think there is a balance there, and there is pros and there's cons, but it's the lifestyle. Like, I did not join the country club for lifestyle, which so many people probably think. Yeah. I thought in my head, can I get a better return on a rental property that might cash flow a few $100 a month, or on a country club where I am surrounded around the founders of Bucked Up, Casey, Todd Peterson. Yeah. And that's not to say I'm going to rub shoulders with them frequently, but like those are just like, I know you got a call here, but there's so many people in between there that I have learned from, that have made me think differently.
Yeah.
And that's the ROI that I'm searching after. But I could go on and on about that. But
no, and that's kind of where I ultimately come to with the passive income stuff versus not, is I think it's Cody Sanchez that says it, but it's like most of the money's made in business, and all the money is kept and more safe and growing in real estate, right? And I like wedding venues because it kind of mixes them.
For sure.
You can make really high income, but also you get some depreciation, a lot of, but ultimately, like, if you're doing summer sales, just decide, just make a freaking plan, make a roadmap. Like, go make millions of dollars in it be in it for 7 years, or if it's very specific, hey, this is just paying for my dental school, be very specific about it and just be where your feet are. That's just something that I wish I would have applied a little bit more.
Yeah, I love it.
So,
okay, one last sentence for us, Alex. Utah's a unique place. This is the question I love to ask on this podcast. We're not like Miami where it's money, money, money. I feel like we are very money, 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 but you add family. There's a lot of people like us that want a successful family, a grounded family, and they want that successful career. What advice would you give to them in one sentence? You can think about this one too if you want.
Yeah. I've never heard someone say that they regret a kid ever. And I think because of that, my wife and I are on the same page. It's not just me. Okay. But like, we want 6 kids because like out of anything in life, I've met a lot of people that regretted how they made money or how they spent money or how they treated other people or not treated other people, right? But I've just never, ever, even if they weren't that good to their kids, and obviously I want people to be good to their kids and do it the right way.
Yeah.
I've just never heard, have you ever heard anyone that said they regret their kids?
Never.
No. Maybe it's like, oh, yeah, I wish I would have waited a little longer. But the only thing I've ever heard is really, I wish, I had the perfect family, or, oh yeah, I wish I would have had more kids or whatever,
Sure.
And I just think that that's life's, I'd say the number one gift to us in life is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I'd say the number 2 is like kids. And they're freaking hard. You know that. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, but like, yeah, that's how I'd end up.
Best thing in the world. I appreciate you, Alex. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Sir.